This episode is brought to you by Bulletproof Script Coverage, where screenwriters go to get their scripts read by top Hollywood professionals. Learn more at covermyscreenplay.com. Now, what is the biggest mistake you see screenwriters make? Because you work with a lot of first-time screenwriters. What is the one thing that you see like, oh, God, this is the one thing?
Well, again, that's why I did the toolkit. They don't understand structure at all. They think it's really not your enemy. It's your friend. And once you discover the structure doesn't make every single film the same, even though the signposts are in my work are the same, you can rearrange them. Can't change a point of no return. Can't change plan falls apart. Can't change resurrection opportunity. Can't change top of the mountain. You know, if you have those four things, you can write back. You go back. I try to and satisfying ending. Mm-hmm. If you know what those are, you can write backwards. You know what your first act has to accomplish to set you on that journey. The other thing too is I think that they overwrite dialogue and they say they're not able to write behavior into their scripts. They say everything. On the nose dialogue. Yeah, our exposition all being verbal. So I miss behavior. And executives don't like to read behavior. They like to read dialogue with a lot of white on the page. So tell me what's going on. But good writers can write behavior into their character, so that it's like for Indy, it's being afraid of snakes. You know, there's a phobia. You know that is going to show up again. You know that snake's going to show up again. It's just when. So that structure is anticipation. Structure should make you anticipate, not go, oh, okay, well, here comes the part where, the monster's not really dead. Yeah, we know that.
Right.
But it's how it's delivered. And I get my favorite example is I always tell, I worked with Robin Williams, he and his family were great friends. And
I can imagine.
Here. But I watched Robin. The best structuralist I ever saw at work was Robin Williams.
Interesting.
Everybody just thinks that all this stuff came out of his mind. He just pulled it in from everywhere, and all that. And he did have a great database. But I watched him film live his stand-up show for HBO 3 nights in a row. And at the end of each night, he would take the card out of his back pocket and he'd start making notes and scratch things out and move, and he would talk to you. Maybe you had dinner before or something. He would pick in your brain on something, and he would show up in the show. But I watched him rearrange his cards every night, to try to find that smooth ride that he wanted, where one thing led to another, but it seemed like it came out of nowhere. And for those that don't believe me, if you've ever seen The History of Golf by Robin Williams. That
was an amazing. I love that.
It doesn't matter how many times you watch it, how many times you see him do it. Same fucking punchline every time. Yeah. And you're laughing at all the same places if you heard it for the first time. That's structure. And all your friends that do improv and bedazzle you with, how do you do that? It's structure. They have a set of circumstances and a set of givens and a set of signposts and a set of circumstances that they always resort to then invent inside that box.
And that's the interesting, because I know exactly the bit you're talking about, because I pissed myself every single time I saw him do that. And it was so, and thinking back when I heard him doing that bit, which is why did the Scottish create golf? Yeah. And then the story of the dude that actually creates it, and how he builds stages, sections, and it's plotting. And I never thought about that in joke writing, because I'm not a joke writer or stand-up. Yeah. But he actually structured that so beautifully, because when you think he's done, he's like, no, wait a minute. We're going to do this.
18 times.
And then we're going to do, and then, we'll throw sand in and we'll do this. And then, hey, let's do it 18 times. You're just like, oh my God, this is amazing. We're going to throw this little ball 1,000, and you're going to feel like it's we'll call it a stroke. That's right. Because every time you miss, you feel like you're going to have a heart attack.
Yeah. You can't argue that he makes that up as he goes along, but it feels like it.
That was his brilliance. Structure. That was his brilliance.
And also, anybody, it's what they say about a comedian. He has good timing, or she has good timing, or she really knows how to land a line, or really, that's structure.
Interesting. So that, it was, I had a short interaction with Robin about 3 months before he passed, and he was such a gentle soul, and I I don't know, because you were really good friends with him. There was something I felt off when I met him. I felt this kinetic thing that was coming off of him, even though he was quiet and calm that day. But you could feel that there was this energy. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but he was just like this energy that just kept going. I'm like, oh my God, that must be insane to deal with, because he was that thing that you saw on stage. But
he's actually very shy.
Right. And, he was very calm and
very quiet and reserved. But if you threw the match in the haystack, he felt that obligation to perform and entertain and make everybody feel good. But when we dinner with his kids, the kids dominate the conversation, and Robin would just sit and listen. But he was very attentive that way, and it was the side of him that you don't expect to see. And also, just he had a lot of things going on in his life, in himself anyway. I'll do a Robin story.
Sure, please.
Again, my wife and I were there with them. It happened. It didn't ever show up in any routine. But and Marcia is his incredible wife with the kids. We're still very close. We went to San Francisco, and I introduced him to Albert Dupontel, a very famous French comedian who he loved. And we all went to dinner at one of their cool restaurants in San Francisco, big high ceilings, and we have a long table, and everybody's looking at Robin, and on the wall there's a group that are from Texas, and I'm going to say this because I'm from Texas, and one of them had big hair, and they're loud and having a good time. And all of a sudden I see, and Robin would, he'd do this a lot, and I watched him looking up, and he was starting to get kind of nervous, and like, he kept looking up, and it was above this woman who's sitting across from us. He kept looking up at the ceiling, and he's going, and we all sort of started sneaking peeks, and there's this giant roach climbing the wall in this super hell-damn ritzy high-end San Francisco room. This giant roach. The roach is that big. And it's climbing up the wall to the ceiling, directly above this woman's head. And Robin's just going,
oh God, no.
Yeah. And we're all going,
oh my God, is it going to fall? Is it going to fall?
And she starts looking at the table, like we're all like, oh. And he didn't want to call the manager over. Hey, there's a fucking roach. And finally it happened. She falls right top of her hair.
No.
Robin falls out. He cannot control his laughter any longer. He is on the floor. He is guffawing. He is sitting where the whole place is lit up. And she's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And he's like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to laugh at you. And she stands up and announces to the whole restaurant. She points right at Robin and says, Robin Williams, you're not funny. And of course, then the whole, and he bought the dinner and everything else. But you couldn't, it was like a sketch out of
Saturday Night Live.
Harold Lloyd comedy. No, it's something like an old, a Charlie Chaplin,
bit.
And we watched it play out in real time, and it was hysterical. And also, because they left the restaurant, but he bought dinner, and the manager came out and complained, they had a big fucking roach in her hair. They had to get it out, and step on it.
Oh my God, that must have been amazing.
He got on his knees. I'm so sorry. You're not funny. Of course,
which of course everybody knows he is, and was quite funny.
When she said that to him, he started laughing again
because he's just like, oh, this is brilliant. I can't write this. You can't write that. You can't write that story.
and to have sat there and witnessed it, it was like I can't believe it's going to fall. It's going to land right on her head. We're just waiting.
And it's, I could just, as you're telling the story, my director mind is like, shot here, shot on the roach, shot on the close-up eyes. Like you're just like, it's a Hitchcock scene all of a sudden.
It is very Hitchcock, And of course, what we always says was a roach went up there to commit suicide. It had it. And then dive into a bowl of spray net, and suffocate. Roach, I'm done with this world. We're out of here. We're gone.
And if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this right. Let's go all the way to this.
What's the matter? Did you get tired? You couldn't hold on? Would you give up?
Oh no, I'm sure Robin kept going. I'm sure he kept building up a backstory.
Actually, top of the mountain, and then point of no return and disaster.
That's amazing.
Resurrection opportunity. You're not funny. Change it, Robin. Anyway. And now I can work that into a structure lesson. Okay.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. You should absolutely work that into a structure lesson. No question.
I haven't told that story in a long time. Sorry if I digress.
No. I think it's an amazing story, and it actually works about structure. You actually turned it into a structure lesson as well.